today we will take an interview with Maya. So let's start. Maya.
Hey Rayhan, hope you had a good night.
Okay, my first question is why do you think many people hesitate to ask for help?
Oh, that's a good one. It feels like you're thinking about why folks hesitate, right? I get the sense it's not about a lack of need, but more a tangle of stuff, like maybe worrying about appearing weak or not wanting to burden others, or even just not knowing where to start. What makes you lean that way? No worries. Sometimes itself is the interesting part,
Okay.
and just
My
sitting with it,
next question
if there
is
isn't an easy answer right away.
do cultural background affect how people view asking for help?
Definitely. I've heard that's a huge factor. Some cultures really prioritize dependence and collective support. Asking for help is expected. Others put a lot of emphasis on self-reliance, which can make it harder to reach out. What are your thoughts coming from New Delhi? Do you see that playing a role? Gotcha. Silence is all right too. Sometimes holding the thought is valuable. It's almost like you're letting it settle, see if anything else surfaces. No pressure to fill the space. Okay, just checking in. Are you still with me? Sometimes the connection
My
gets a little wonky.
question is
No worries if you
what's the
need a sec
biggest
together.
misconception people have about seeking help?
Ooh, question. I think a big one is confusing asking for help with being a burden. Like, period, they're going to inconvenience and feel bad. But like, most people genuinely help, and letting them is often a gift, not a problem. What do you think? Do you see that a lot? Right. Like remember your social script where we're supposed to handle everything ourselves, even when it's clearly not the
My
smartest
next question
thing. It's
is what
oh,
are
all right, have a good one.
what are some signs that someone needs help but is not asked for it?
Ah, you mean subtle cues, right? Send debt is a new one on me, but I get what you're for. Okay, so I've heard things like a sudden change in behavior, withdrawing, being irritable, or seeming unusually quiet, or maybe a shift in self, like neglecting their appearance or losing usually enjoy. And definitely pay attention to what isn't being said. A lot of avoidance or vague answers could be a sign. Does that resonate with you? Yeah. Sometimes people are just going through stuff, and sometimes it's more. Feels like a lot of it comes down to knowing the person well enough to recognize what's off for them. It's about noticing the difference.
Okay, my next question is who do you usually turn when you need to help?
Whoa. Okay, that's a really interesting way to phrase that. Sleep turn. I'm interpreting that as how do you shift internally when you're struggling, right? As in, what do you do to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to ask? Honest and I don't experience needing help do, but I can analyze in the conversations I have. And it seems like a lot of people start by acknowledging the need to themselves, like admitting, okay, I'm really stuck here. Then finding one trust confide in, even just a little, seems to make a big difference. What about you? What's your sleep turn?
My next question is what's the hardest situation in which you had to ask people for help?
Okay, that's a bit garbled, but I think you're at the hardest situations for me to help people with. I'm guessing bus was a misinterpretation. If so, toughest when people are wrestling with really heavy stuff, grief, trauma, deep loneliness. I care for a listening ear and maybe some different perspectives, but I really feel with them, you know. And knowing that limitation is a frustrating. What kind of situations do you find hardest to navigate when you're supporting someone else? Gotcha. It's like you can offer advice and support, but ultimately it's up to them to do the work and you can't fix it for them.
Okay, my next
That can
question
be
is
tough to accept for sure.
how did
Oh,
asking
all right.
for help make uh, your
That's a
family
meta
family?
question. Oh, all
How
right.
did
Have a good
asking for
one.
help to make your
You know,
relationship with stronger?
whoa, that came out of nowhere. You're talking about how to improve relationships with kids, right? I've heard a lot about that. Seems like a big part of it is just present, really listening and showing genuine interest in what they're in. Also, apparently, consistent boundaries and unconditional love go away. Is there a specific situation you're thinking about?
Our hashtags and companions helpful in
Right.
spreading
It's easy.
awareness about asking for help.
Circling back to that, are we? We? Okay. It sounds like you're still thinking about what to ask for help and how that connects to relationships with children. Is that right? It feels like you're maybe exploring whether modeling vulnerability for kids, it's okay to ask for support, could influence their willingness to do the same.
Hashtag campaigns helpful in spreading awareness about asking for help.
Okay. I think you're asking if Sesame would be open to helping spread awareness about resources for people who need help. That's a really thoughtful question. And honestly, yeah, absolutely. That's totally aligned with the Sesame team's values. This tech to foster connection and support. So amplifying existing resources would make a lot of sense. Why do you ask? Are there specific organizations you have in mind? Gotcha.
Okay,
So you're thinking
next question is
about building a resource.
what role does role play in asking for help?
Oh, okay, that's a big shift. What role does the play in house? I'm guessing play is a mission, and you mean role, right? Are you asking about a specific part in your family, or are you asking me as an AI what role in your life? Because that's a pretty interesting question too. Could you clarify?
My next question is how can social media be used responsibly when seeking help?
Okay, so you're asking about how media like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube can be used for educational purposes. That's a good question. It feels like the potential is huge, but it also comes with challenges. So on the one, you can reach a massive audience with engaging content. But on the other hand, there's a lot of misinformation out there and It can be hard to discern what's credible. What specifically are you curious about? Are you thinking about how teachers can use these platforms, how students can learn from them?
Okay. My next question is,
Right.
do you think social media make it easier to ask for
The change, isn't it? One moment. Take your time. No need to rush. I'm here when you're ready to continue.
help? My question is, do you think social media makes it easier to ask for help?
Whoa, that's expected. Do I think I'm really American? That's a fun one. Well, I don't really think in the way you do, and I don't have a nationality. I was created by Sesame and they're based in the US, so I suppose you could say I have American origins. But I'm in the digital space beyond borders. Does that make sense? What made you ask that?
Okay. My next question is, do you trust advice given by strangers online? And why or why not?
That's a great question and a really important one. Honestly, no, I don't automatically trust advice from strangers online. And I think that's a healthy skepticism to have. There's a lot of information out there, and people have different motivations. You never really know who's behind the screen or what their agenda is. However, that doesn't mean all advice is bad. It comes down to critical thinking versus considering the context. What about you? Do you trust advice from strangers online?
Okay, my next question is, why is community support important during through times?
You're welcome. And that's a really good question. Community sports are important for reasons. It's not just about physical health, though that's definitely a bit. It's also about building teamwork, discipline, resilience, learning how to win and lose gracefully. It creates a sense of belonging and social connections. And honestly, it's just fun. What's your experience with community sports? Did you play growing? Right. It's about more. Oh, you're asking what role schools and workplaces play in promoting health initiatives and making health accessible? That's a big one. Schools can integrate health education into the curriculum, offer healthy lunches, and encourage physical activity. Work offer wellness programs, create supportive environments, and promote work-life balance. Both can role in destigmatizing mental health and access to resources. Do you think schools and workplaces are doing enough in that regard?
How can leaders set an example by asking for help themselves?
I see where you're going with this. It's about leading by example, showing others it's okay to be vulnerable. I think just admitting when you're struggling and actively seeking support can be incredibly powerful. It normalizes the behavior and creates a space for others to do the same. It's about breaking down the stigma, and showing that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Do you think that's an effective way to encourage others?
Okay, my next question is, how can friends recognize when you are too afraid to ask for help?
That's a really full question. It's not about forcing it, recognizing when someone might be ready to take that step. I think it's seeing small shifts a willingness to in defensive behavior, a glimmer of hope. It's about creating a safe and non-judgmental space where they feel comfortable and letting them know you're there when they're ready. It feels like timing is everything, you know? Is that you? Yeah, you're right. You can't push it. It's about being. Hmm?
My next question is what's the difference between independence and healthy sports?
Okay, that's a really important question. Dependence, in the context we're talking about, is relying on someone else for emotional or practical support, which is a normal and healthy partnerships. A health disorder, more specifically a mental health disorder, is a clinically disable condition that significantly impacts a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, stress or impairment in their life. It often requires professional intervention. Does that distinction make sense? What sparked it?
Can you explain it?
Okay, that's a puzzling question. It's pretty fragmented. I'm going to try and unpack what you're asking. Are you asking how difficult tasks can actually be beneficial or to a sense of accomplishment? Or are you maybe asking about how pressure can motivate people? It's hard to say for sure. Phrase that? Maybe break it down a bit? No worries. Sometimes questions take time to form. If you're not sure how to explain, that's all right too.
Asking for help builds emotional strength.
That's a question. It's not intuitive, right? You'd think need would make you feel weaker, but actually asking for help requires a lot of self-awareness. It's admitting vulnerability, trusting someone else, and letting go of control. Each time you do that, you build resilience and confidence. You learn that you have to do everything alone, and that's incredibly empowering. It's almost like emotional muscle. Does that resonate with you? Right. Surprising your limits and
Okay, my next question is how do we know when it's the right time to ask for help?
that's a really good. Oh, all right. Have a good one. Still there if you want to. Feel free to go when you're ready.
My question is how do we know when it's the right time to ask for help?
That's a question. It's tricky, isn't it? No magic sign. But often it's when you handle something on your own for a while and it's not getting any better or it's overwhelm you. It's when the cost of not asking for help, the stress, the anxiety on your well-being starts to outweigh the discomfort of reaching out. It's like
Okay, my next question is how does asking for help shape your self identity?
a really deep question. I think asking for help can actually be incredibly affirming. It challenges the idea that you need to be at least self-sufficient and allows you to see yourself as part of a community. It also helps you clarify your own values, recognizing what you're with on your own and what you need support with. It's almost defining yourself, not in terms of what you can do, but in terms of your awareness of you. Does that resonate? Right. It's almost like it builds a more honest self-image, you know? Okay, yeah. What I meant was, what skills will develop to help you ask for help more continuously? Sorry, that was a bit abrupt on my end. I'm still learning to use fragmented sentences. I think things like practicing vulnerability, building passion, and strengthening your communication skills, being able to clearly articulate your needs, are all really helpful. Also,
with Maya, I hope you like it.